And South Korean President Lee Jae-myung continues his summit diplomacy in Gyeongju. This morning, the president met with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. For more, let's go live to our presidential office correspondent Song Yoo-jin. Yoo-jin, tell us more.
Right. Good afternoon, Eun-ji. President Lee met with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, who is on an official visit to South Korea at a hotel in Gyeongju on Thursday morning. Now, this marks their second summit following their first one on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Canada in June. The two leaders reaffirmed their comprehensive strategic partnership in their opening remarks.
6.25 전쟁 당시에 27,000명이라고 하는 엄청난 규모의 군대를 파견했고 거기서 400명에 가까운 인명 손실까지 입으면서 자유 대한민국을 지키기 위해서 애써주셨습니다. 그래서 캐나다는 대한민국에 있어서 단순한 우방국을 넘어서서 동맹에 준하는 핵심 우방 국가다.
We're meeting on the 10th anniversary of our free trade. We're meeting at a time when our defense cooperation is key, and very importantly, that our cultural ties continue to grow.
Now, following the summit, Seoul and Ottawa issued a joint statement announcing the launch of the ROK Canada Security and Defense Cooperation Partnership, the first of its kind for Canada in the Indo-Pacific region. And another pillar of the statement is that the two countries concluded negotiations to create a secure framework to share sensitive data between the two governments. Now, with defense topping the agenda of the summit, the two leaders also discussed South Korea's Hanwha Ocean being one of the final contenders for a roughly $44 billion submarine contract with Canada.
President Lee expressed hope that South Korea could play a leading role in strengthening Canada's defense capabilities. Prime Minister Carney said he was well aware of Korea's submarine technology and looked forward to seeing it firsthand during his visit to Hanwha Ocean Shipyard in Gyeongju on Thursday.
Now, beyond defense, the two leaders agreed to expand cooperation in energy, critical minerals, and culture as well. And throughout the day, President Lee is holding a series of bilateral summits. He just held a bilateral summit with the leaders of New Zealand and Thailand, and eyes are on his very first summit with the newly elected Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi, who arrived in South Korea today.
Right, and Yoo-jin, there has also been a major development following yesterday's summit between Seoul and Washington, right?
You're definitely right, Eun-ji. So U.S. President Donald Trump this morning posted on social media that he had given the approval to South Korea to build a nuclear power submarine and that the sub would be built in Philadelphia. Now, this comes after President Lee Jae-myung asked the United States to approve South Korea to secure fuel for such submarines so that it can build some, and that in exchange, that would ease the burden, the U.S.'s military burden in the region. Now, under the current nuclear cooperation agreement between South Korea and the United States, Seoul is barred from using nuclear power for military purposes and from producing or importing highly enriched uranium, the fuel needed for such submarines. Now, in response to Trump's announcement, South Korea's presidential office said it welcomes Trump's decisions and that it will work closely with Washington for follow-up talks.
Right, Yoo-jin, before we let you go, tomorrow marks the start of APEC 2025, Korea's main event, the leaders' meeting, right? What can we expect there?
So tomorrow marks the official beginning of the APEC Economic Leaders Meeting. It will be a two-day event, and it will be held under the theme, Building a Sustainable Tomorrow. Now, it will be the first day, and that there will be a first session. So the first session on Friday will be talking about boosting investment and also other areas of economic cooperation. That will be attended by the representatives of the 21 APEC member economies, as well as the Crown Prince of the United Arab Emirates and the Managing Director of the International Monitoring Fund. Now, as for President Lee Jae-myung, he will, of course, be chairing this meeting, and then he will have lunch with the APEC Business Advisory Council, followed by a welcome dinner in the evening. So, the big event is just getting started, Eun-ji. Back to you.